right, good morning, family. Welcome back. Let's get things started, shall we? It's a beautiful Friday, and I know you got a lot of things to do, as do I. Of course, the Is It Just Me podcast is coming up at 12:30 today. And on Sunday, the Dope Chick Collectives, the Dope Chicks, are back with Sin Digital, and they are live streaming on Sunday. I'll give you more details on what to expect from that very exciting podcast. I'm very excited about that. So a lot of things to discuss. And I want to get straight to it. 513-873-7134. That is my number. As you may know, good morning. Welcome to my home studio. Nathan Ivey with you. One man, one microphone, one mission. Let me get adjusted here. There it is. I'm all good. How are you? Hope you're doing well. How was the last 24 hours? You doing good? Any issues? Hope you're doing well. That's great to hear. I want to start the show off, as I usually do, talking about current events, some stories to start your morning. And again, you've got the number on the screen, 513-873-7134. Good morning to you. Please take a moment and share today's show. Your shares mean everything. Please share the show wherever you think that people would like it. This show is about people, politics, and pleasure, all right? And everything in between. In particular, and especially black people, black politics, and black pleasure. From an I don't give a damn, I'm going to keep it real with you, at all costs perspective, broadcasting live from the greater Cincinnati area. Good morning to you. I see Jane is in the house this morning. She writes, good morning. Good morning to you, Jane. Tracy writes, hi. Good morning, Tracy. She writes, hey, Jane. Hey, CJ writes, good morning, everybody. Good morning, CJ. Pat writes, good morning. CG Dub writes, good morning, choppers. Ray writes, grand risings all. Good to see everybody. Oh, where are my manners? We got to get to the choppers. You know what we do. Hold on. You know what we do. You know how we do it. There it is. Get to the choppers! That's right. Ashley writes, good morning, Nathan and the choppers. It's Friday. Yes, it is. Get to the choppers! And a beautiful Friday. It's been a great week. It's been a really great week. I'm expecting a great Friday and a great weekend. You know, there's an article out about Michelle Obama in which she said that she believes that, where's the quote here? She's dealing with low-grade depression because of COVID-19, racial strife, and the Trump administration. And I've heard this a lot. I know there's a lot of people out there dealing with depression, dealing with anxiety, but the D word keeps coming up because of COVID-19. People are shut in. They can't do what they usually want to do. And I've talked about this before. I mean, I'm sympathetic to it. I don't completely understand it. You know what I'm saying? But I fully admit I'm in a different circumstance. Like I said, I almost wasn't here this year. I'll say it again. When you have a near-death experience, it changes the way you look at life. You savor it. You savor it. You look at life. I look at life completely different. My relationship with the world is different than it was this time last year. So, I mean, forgive me if I'm just caught up in my own, experience. It's just hard for me to understand how being in the house is causing all this anxiety. I'm sympathetic to it. I'm going to reach out to some professionals who can give us some tips, give you some tips on how to deal with this kind of thing, because I think it'd be a resource for the community, but I don't get it. I don't understand it. This life is too precious. Thank you. This life is too precious. Appreciate it. Listen, with choppers, don't ever be shy to let me know about what sounds off or whatever, because to me, that just shows you care. I appreciate it. So hopefully that's a little bit better. Someone said that the mic was a little bit too hot. I can understand it. Let me see here. Yeah, okay, I can understand it. But as I said before, I just don't get it, but we'll talk about it. But first, I want to talk about Joe Biden. Mr. Joe Biden, who has issued a series of apologies because of his latest comments. And this just keeps on happening with Joe, doesn't it? This just keeps on happening with Joe. It's like Joe opens his mouth. He says things that he regrets. His latest regrettable statements had to do with the black community. Yes, Joe loves us so much. He knows us so well. He knows us better than we know ourselves. And he was making a comparison between the black community and other communities. And he said that the black community is not that diverse, which can only be looked upon as a slight. And of course, he walked it back and apologized via Twitter. I'll put up on the screen here in a second. But damn, it just begs the question. I mean, is Joe Biden's mouth the biggest threat to his ability to become the president. You know what I'm saying? And then secondly, you know, we need to do better than old white men. Can I get an amen on that? We need to do better than old white men when it comes to running for president. It's like if you're not an old white guy, you can't even become president. What the hell? If black lives really matter and everybody's thinking about diversity and equity, then in the next election cycle, we need to see some different candidates, some younger candidates, some browner candidates, right? Some less male, some female candidates. We got two old white guys representing the two old stale parties, and they both say dumb things that threaten their ability to be elected president. Democrat and Republican, it makes no difference. You know it's true. And the more Joe talks, the more it's like, wait a minute. What's the difference between Trump? I mean, that's just what's going to happen. Have you seen the latest? I've got the video for you and, of course, the audio. I'll play it for you in a second. And he walks it back on Twitter like everybody does. I mean, it seems like gone are the days. They just don't make men the way they used to, white and black. Gone are the days where people think before they open their mouth. Those days are over with. Those days are over with. Gone are the days where men and women think before they open their damn mouths. Whether it be Nick Cannon. Now, I stand by what I said with Nick Cannon. Black folks should have the ability to pontificate on YouTube without it being some kind of national emergency. People think it's a threat to the movement. And like I said, what Nick Cannon said was no damn threat to no movement. And if it is, if any of our white allies are jumping off because of Nick Cannon, they never were on board in the first place. Joe Biden. I mean, what is this, the third time now? So now he's got to walk back his comments that he used in describing his perception of the African-American community. Quote, in no way did I mean to suggest the African-American community is a monolith. Well, that's what you said. And of course, Trump jumped all over it saying that Biden disparaged and insulted the black community. Trump needs to shut the hell up. Did you see that Axios interview? If you're a Trump supporter, how do you explain your continued support after you just watched that video with Axios? It's like 40 minutes long. You should check it out. It's worth your time. We deserve better choices. We, the people, deserve to be inspired when we're voting for president. We deserve to have people that in a very intellectual and articulate way will represent our interest, right, against the special interest out there. We deserve candidates that think before they open their mouth, that open their mind before they open their mouth. Is that too much to ask for? I mean, hell, I ask that from you, the listeners and potential callers. Is that too much to ask for from someone who's running for U.S. president? I just, in no way am I comparing the politics of the two men, Joe Biden and Trump, because there's a big difference. At the top of that list is net neutrality. You know me. I ain't voting for no candidate that's not pro net neutrality, period. As an entrepreneur that does what I do on the internet, there's no way in hell. That alone is a difference enough to get my vote. And any black creative people who are educated enough to understand what that means for you, you should agree with me on that. That alone. So I ain't comparing the policies. I'm just comparing the men, the quality, the timbre, what comes out of their mouth. So now he's walking back something else and, you know, his remarks comparing the Latino community to the black community. I mean, wait, stop, white man. Don't try to pit us against one another. Don't try to pit blacks and Latinos against one another, white man. Don't do that. What the hell you think you are? I'll say it again. Blacks and Latinos have far more in common than we do not have in common. We need to be teaming up against the status quo. But I know it's a lot of black folks that don't feel that, right? Black folks ain't got nothing in common with Latinos. Okay, you letting them separate and divide us between the haves and the have-nots. That's what really matters. Don't get me started. Quote, earlier today, I made some comments about diversity in the African-American and Latino communities that I want to clarify. In no way did I mean to suggest the African-American community is a monolith. Not by identity, not by issues, not at all. And he needs to be probed deeper into what he means by that. To me, it's not enough for him to say, well, I didn't mean it the way people are taking it. He should be made to explain what he actually means. So did you not mean what you said at all? Or, Joe, you know what I'm saying? Do you feel generally from your experiences that there's some truth in what you said? If so, I like to hear it. I hate these men that make these statements that they don't really think out. And then when they realize, like, wait a minute, heat's coming, they want to walk it back. That's the weakest issue in the world, man. I would have had more respect for Nick Cannon if he kept it Rizzle. Like, yeah, I said it. Y'all taking it the wrong way, but here's what I meant, and I stand by it. But he's still apologizing somewhere. Wherever Nick Cannon is, he's apologizing on his knees. Get Nick Cannon off of his knees, please. They buck broke him real quick. His next show will be called Escape Buck Broke Island. That'll be his next reality show. Oh, man. Or maybe not. Then he doubles down on Twitter about his commitment to the African American community. Did you know that Joe Biden has an agenda for everybody? He's got an agenda for everybody. He's got a black agenda, a Latino agenda, an older American agenda, an AARP agenda. He got an agenda for everybody. Everybody's going to get it. And Val Demings, who I've read and has been reported is being considered to be his VP running mate, she made a statement this week that needs to be further examined. She made a statement in which she said that Joe Biden's plan, Build Back Better, his Build Back Better plan is, quote unquote, going to end systemic racism. Yeah, she really said that ish. And I've gone to Joe's website. I would encourage you to go to his website and look at his policy proposals. It's extensive. Man, he got a plan for the dogs, for the cats. He's got a plan for betas. He's got a plan for everybody, right? We got to have a plan, Joe. We got to have a plan. Build Back Better. Okay. I ain't joking. You go to his website right now. Go to joebiden.com and then go back to his Build Back Better. He's got a plan for everything and everybody. He's got everything that you could possibly think of covered. He's got it all covered. And I can't figure out whether I think that that's a good thing or a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? Black folks is pressing for a black agenda, and you come up with an agenda for everybody. Does that water it down, or that's a good thing or a bad thing? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'll assume it's a good thing for now. Battle for the soul of the nation. Like Val Demings actually said this, and I understand she's trying to curry favor, you know, with the Biden administration, because if you're a politician, you get a shot of being VP. Man, cha-ching, cha-ching, right? A lot of politicians, if they state reps or like Susan Rice, maybe they used to be in administration. I mean, that's a step up. You talk about executive position, that sets you up for a lifetime or whatever, just doors opening. You know what I'm saying? Like automatically. You ain't got to touch the door handle. They just automatically open. Former VP. So I get it. You know, she's trying to curry favor with the Biden administration, but there is no one plan that anybody could come up with, in my opinion, tell me if I'm wrong, that could end systemic racism. Because the systemic racism is in the hearts and the minds of the white folks that are in positions of power across this country, and in the minds of non-white folks, some of them as well. Some of you black folks can't stand black folks. You hate yourself. You hate people that look like you. I know those numbers are very, very small in my audience, but they're out there. We can name some names from the Cincinnati area, but I won't do it. I'll be nice. I mean, one plan is going to end systemic racism. That's a hell of a boast. That's a huge boast right there. And I'm like, okay, so let me check out the plan. I'm going to go check out the plan. I'm like, this is just a regular plan. I ain't seen none of that was special. It's comprehensive. There's an agenda for everything and everybody. He wants to build black wealth. He wants to give, you know, first time some finer points here. He wants to give. And again, I agree with a lot of this. I love it. He wants to give first-time home buyers a $15,000 tax credit. I'm about that life. I love that. What? You mean we don't have to move out of Madisonville? We can afford to stay? Right? That'd be great. But no one plan. I don't think no one plan, unless it's God's plan, unless it's God Almighty, is going to end systemic racism. Oh, sorry. I mean, the only thing that's going to end systemic racism is the next apocalypse. That's it. That's not, listen, don't do nothing now. I'm just saying. I don't see it happening. But you tell me what you think. 513-873-7134. See, we got an early call here. Let's go straight to it and say good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Nathan, it's Tracy. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Welcome.
I don't know if you remember this, but put on your thinking caps. This call is for Kevin on the cell. About a month and a half ago, I called in and we were talking about Joe Biden, and we were talking about his age, and we were talking about, him living in the fog with this alleged onset of possible dementia that he has. And I made a comment saying something to the fact of I don't think he's going to get through not just one term, but 1 year, because he just seems like he slowed down. And Kevin on the cell's response was, I don't think people are being fair, and you shouldn't judge older people based on their age, and we need to give them respect. It was, I'm kind of loosely paraphrasing what the conversation was, but I've been waiting for another example of Joe Biden to show what I'm talking about, and here it is. Mm-hmm. I think Joe, in all of his foggy brain, and don't get me wrong, I'm not voting for Trump. I'm voting for Biden. But in his foggy brain, I think this is an example of why everybody is scared for Joe Biden to debate Trump. And I think, when you look at his age, he and Trump are both living in the same 76 and 77 or something like that. Mm-hmm. They come from a certain belief system, and they're both like Archie Bunkers to me, right? They say whatever, they believe whatever. They have these certain belief systems because of the way that they were raised and how old they are. And I think that they're both just old dinosaurs, if you will. But I don't think it's unfair to judge a candidate by his age, because they both have some mental issues, if you ask me, some kind of cognitive issues. But that's what I was talking about, Kevin, on the cell, when we talked about this a month and a half ago. And this is what you have to look at, because that's what they believe. He has a certain belief system about the blacks, as they say, and the Hispanics. And, he just proved once again, here he is. And I think there's a certain Joe Biden boldness and audacity about it, because he's probably like, I'm going to say what I'm going to say, because what are they going to do, vote for Trump? He knows we're not going to vote for Trump. So basically, you either deal with what I got to say or you don't vote for me at all. And I think that's pretty arrogant. But that's just my assessment of Joe Biden and even Trump when you're putting them in the same boat. So there you have it.
Tracy, have a good day. I appreciate it. I do remember that.
All right. Bye.
I do remember that. She did make that point. I do remember it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, here is the statement that Joe Biden made. Let me see if I can cue this up for you.
Yes, and by the way, what you all know, but most people don't know, unlike the African-American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community.
So we ain't diverse, huh, Joe? Now, is that kind of like a backhanded, is he speaking from the sense of, guess who's calling? Guess who's calling? Johnny on the spot, or should I say drop on the spot? Hold on, drop. I'll bring you straight on, brother. Hold on 1 second. But is he speaking of the fact that overwhelmingly 85+% of African Americans vote for the Democrat Party? Is that what he's speaking of? So I'd like to know the numbers of the Latino community. I mean, what percentage of the Latino community votes, Democrat? That's very, very interesting there. Either way, he's walking it back. which means it was a mistake for him to say it in the first place. He said this just last night, 9 p.m. My commitment to you is this. I will always listen. I will never stop fighting for the African-American community, and I will never stop fighting for a more equitable future. Okay, Joe, I mean, I'll take you for your word, man. Plus, he's got a black agenda. So all you got to do. And this raised eyebrows. And he made those remarks during an interview that aired at the National Association of Black Journalists. You're at the convention of the National Association for Black Journalists, and you make a statement like that? I mean, obviously people are going to key in on it. It was a joint, as I understand the convention, National Association of Black Journalists and the National Association of Hispanic Journalists. It's both of them. As I said, I think we should judge these two men by their policies. But I'm just going to say across the board, we deserve better. Here we go with the old white man thing again. We keep doing the same ish in this country, but expecting something different. Where does that work? Where does that work where you keep doing the same thing over and over again, not getting the results that you want, but you can go right back and do it again? We keep doing the same thing. And I think we need to the Democrats and Republicans should rethink the primary process. I think it's broken because it keeps producing the same damn content. Old, white, wealthy men. Same thing over and over again. It's like you got to be 70 and a millionaire to even get a shot. But let me go to the phones here and bring in Brother Drop. Hey, Drop, what's up, man? Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Ivey. I'm up bright and early out here on the left coast, and your monologue was off the chain. And I wanted to be the first caller, but Tracy beat me to it. Great call, Tracy. And I know you really wanted to say you agree with me and not Kev on the cell with his crazy comments. But, Mr. Ivey, I appreciate you, sir, pointing out one thing. Well, a whole lot of things about what Joe Biden has repeatedly said about how he views the black community and the black Democratic base of his party. And especially after serving 8 years with the first black president, it was like, did he advise Obama on certain issues? And maybe that's why Obama couldn't get done what supposedly Joe Biden's new plan, Build Back Better, according to Val Demings, is going to totally erase systemic racism. That would be amazing if Joe Biden could get done what him and the first black president couldn't get done in 8 years. But the one point that I think Joe Biden was trying to make when he was comparing the diversity of the Hispanic community with the diversity of the black community, he was talking about how they vote. Mr. Ivey, like I've been telling you, sir, 2020 is going to be a turning point for the black electorate, especially these young, black, energetic, business-minded, get that money. These young black people, they ain't going for this mentality no more, where black people supposed to be in a certain place. And I think that is what's being exposed by Joe Biden and his so-called gas. They're not his gas. Like Tracy said, this is the way the man really thinks. But he's not capable now because of his failing cognitive skills. He's not capable of keeping it under control. And believe me, Mr. Ivey, I have firsthand knowledge of this because I delivered mail in a retirement community. And I witnessed people who had early dementia. And I've seen people just like Joe Biden. I witnessed a white lady, Mr. Ivey, go from getting me confused with someone to 2 years later walking down the street in her underwear asking me where she lives. So all I'm saying, Mr. Ivey, Joe Biden definitely has issues, but the one thing he's constantly been pointing out with this comment he said on the town hall meeting with the black journalists and Hispanic journalists of America. Then what he said with Charlemagne the God about black people should not question a Democrat, just shut up and vote, or you ain't black. And I could go down the line with other things he said in the past about black people, especially what he said about Barack Obama being smooth, clean, and articulate. So, again, Mr. Ivey, I just want to say that Glenn from Mason. Yeah, go ahead, sir.
I'm just going to say that you're just one-sided. See, you'll talk about Joe Biden. See, you just one-sided. You'll criticize Joe Biden for what he's saying about the black community, but you ain't bringing up Trump in his now infamous interview with Axios, in which this fool, when this fool declared that he's done more for black folks than any other president since Abraham Lincoln. And then when the interviewer tried to interject and say, even LBJ, this man, civil rights, legislation, he's like, oh yeah, more than that. So my issue is not just with Joe Biden as is yours. My issue is with both of them. We deserve better from both parties.
Right. But Mr. Ivey, like a lot of people are starting to say out loud now, okay? And you could start with the guy this morning on Morning Joe, the columnist for the Washington Post. You know who I'm talking about. Light-skinned brother, mumble mouth. And he said,
is that Clarence Page? Who you speaking of?
See, now I got a block.
Okay. It'll come to you.
But anyway, yeah, it'll come to me. But anyway, he said it. He actually clarified, and he said, in one aspect, in America, black people are monoliths, and it can be argued that they vote 85 to 90% for the Democratic Party since 1964. So that is a fact, Mr. Ivey. But I'm telling you. Okay,
so why did Joe walk it back then? He should be a man.
That's right. My point.
And stand and say and clarify and say, here's what I was saying. I was talking about your voting pattern. But then that's got to be juxtaposed or compared to, the Latino vote. Again, I haven't done that research.
Right. But
if it's dissimilar, like if only 60% of Latinos vote for the Democrat Party, okay, then he's got a point.
Okay,
stand by it.
But this is something else. But this is something else that he did not do after he's made comments like this in the past. He did not send out a Negro whisperer from his campaign. He didn't send out Miss Dubois. I'm sorry I messed her name up. He didn't send out Simone Sanders this time. He released something on Twitter. And like you said, Mr. Ivey, I agree. He didn't even have the balls enough to go on CBS Morning or something like that to clarify it directly to the black people. But let me read something that someone in the Chop Shop wrote, Mr. Ivey, if you will. It'll be real quick.
Sure.
When you are the leader of the Democratic Party, you have to have many plans because the Democratic Party is super diverse, unlike the Republican Party of white men and Herman Cain. I'm just saying. Hashtag open your mind before you open your mouth. Now, Mr. Ivey, that is from an old black Democrat. A young black Democrat wrote, Biden got to come outside, and when he does, people are reminded why he was never a serious candidate for president. This clown keep telling you who he is. Anybody but Biden. So again, Mr. Ivey, those are two different views in the black community. And they got work to do, Mr. Ivey. Again, I'm not predicting.
No, we the people have work to do.
Donald Trump.
So you want to focus on Biden.
Got work to do.
But Trump is even more of a threat to the black community in terms of his policies that I think are anti-black.
Don't vote Republican.
His rhetoric.
Mr. Ivey, stop.
His rhetoric, his policies, even more of a threat to the black community.
But that would be an issue, Mr. Ivey, if more than 7 to 8% of black people voted Republican.
Yeah, but you're contradicting yourself because you was the same person for years talking. I'm going to tell you how. You was the same person saying it only takes a small margin of the black vote for Trump to win. So he don't need to have the same numbers that the Democrats get, as you said many times on this show. He only needs a smaller but yet greater percentage than he got last time. So it matters.
No, he could get the same percentage that he got last time as far as the popular vote. but he's got to win these states to get the electoral 270.
Well, isn't that how you get the electoral college vote, by winning the popular vote in a particular state? Yes.
No.
Yes.
No, you got to win. You got to win the state. You got to win the state, and every state doesn't have the same amount of electoral.
But how do you win the state?
Votes.
You win the state by winning the votes, so it does matter.
No,
It does matter.
Yeah, but it has nothing to do with the popular vote.
We're not talking about the popular vote. We're talking about the overall percentage of African Americans that may vote for Trump. Okay. And what is that number for it to really make a difference when he's running against a Democrat? It's a small number. We're talking about black votes for Trump. There's a huge push right now to get and attract black people to vote for Trump. And all I'm saying is you are one-sided. You'll criticize Biden, but you won't criticize Trump.
First of all, Mr. Ivey, I am not a political operative like Black Russia, and I'm pretty sure he will clarify this. When we're talking about a percentage of the vote that you need to take away from your opponent, that either means people not showing up or people voting for somebody else. And that all that 5 to 8%, it doesn't mean that Trump needs 5 to 8% to vote for him. He just needs 5 to 8% to not vote Democrat.
Okay, so let's clarify this.
Keep his numbers, and he keep his numbers strong, then he's good.
So does the black voice? So does the black voices for Trump? Is that a significant movement or not?
Yes, it's very
significant. So if it's significant, then it's significant for us to criticize the way Trump talks about black people, to bring it all the way back around in. Because you're trying to make it seem like it doesn't make a difference what he says about black people, because black people ain't gonna vote for him.
I'll tell you why. Because the black people who leave the Democrat Party, they don't care what Trump said. They don't care about the rhetoric, because they've been listening to the rhetoric from the Democrats with no action. But Trump, he shows action, so they set aside the rhetoric.
What action has he shown for black voters, for black people?
Mr. Ivey, it's up to the individual who benefits from government anything. Okay? And that's the problem with the Democrat Party. And I'm telling you, Mr. Ivey, the young black people don't see this groupthink anymore. They're seeing themselves as me before we. If I shine, my people gonna shine. But the mentality to sit back and wait for the Democrat Party to give you what they think you need to move forward in life, these young black entrepreneurs, driven individuals, Mr.
Not
Ivey,
the issue.
All these millionaires and billionaires
You're deflecting.
that were born in the 70s and the 80s, Mr. Ivey.
You're deflecting.
It's starting. All I'm telling you, sir.
It's a great flow. The best deflection is truth. So, I mean, what you're saying is true. You're right. Well, those people do exist, but that's not really the question. You can't have it both ways. You can't say it don't matter what Trump says about black folks, because black folks ain't going to vote for him. But yet his movement to attract black voices or black votes, called Black Voices for Trump, is significant. They both can't be true.
Yes.
You got to pick and choose.
Because those individuals that are buying into the Black Voices for Trump movement, they are like, they don't make it known widely, because they see what happens when you do speak out against the Democrat Party.
That's not the issue.
On social media, yes, it is.
That's not
Mr.
the issue.
Ivey. Okay, all
that's
right.
not what we were talking about.
Okay, Mr. Ivey, this whole thing was about Joe Biden.
Exactly.
And how his constant failure to really be the candidate that the Democrat Party needs.
But it's also about Donald Trump and his constant failure to really be the president that black people need, which was my point to begin with. You'll criticize Biden, but you'll let Trump off the hook with a series of, nonsensical reasons, in my opinion. I'm criticizing both of them.
Well, that's your job. You're a talk show host that's supposed to be fair and balanced. Okay, because when you play,
I'm fair and biased. I'm biased against the nonsense.
Ads, you let everybody know that no way do you support the people that are in these ads. You make that very clear.
Yes, that's a whole different conversation.
I very rarely call you out as a liberal or a Democrat, and that's a fact.
You don't have to, because I'll tell you, I'm more progressive.
Right, because I'm not on here to make the host look bad. That's not my role. Black Lion we see what happened to him when he make the host look bad.
That's a whole nother question. That was not the issue at all. Look at you deflecting like a motherfucker. Look at you deflect. Now you bring up Black Lion. That's interesting.
but you bring up Donald Trump when I'm talking about,
because we're talking about presidential candidates. We're talking about the run for presidency. It's all relevant.
But he said it about black people. Joe Biden said it about his constituents, not Donald Trump's constituents.
And Donald Trump, when he talks about black people, that's open for analysis as well. As in his recent interview with Axios, when he proclaimed that he's done more for black people than anybody since Abraham Lincoln, which is utterly ridiculous and a damn lie. But you ain't got nothing to say about that. That was my whole point in bringing it up.
Well, I mean, hey, as far as I'm concerned, ask the black people.
You talking to black people? You talking to a black person right now? I'm telling you, sounds like a damn fool.
No, how do I sound like a fool?
Not you. Not you. I said he. What? Donald Trump sounded like a damn fool.
Oh, well, of course, Mr. Ivey. The man is opinionated. The man is about winning, about making himself. He's got to maintain that brand. So, of course, he's going to say he's the best of all time. He's the greatest of all time. That's what he does. I'm just saying.
So that's what he does. So we just let him go with that with no critique because that's what he does. See, that's what I'm saying. You got to keep it. You got to be consistent with it. If we're going to criticize Joe for doing the same thing that Trump does, then we got to criticize Trump as well.
Mr. Ivey, I am not obligated to be balanced in my opinion.
True.
When I call your show.
It's my obligation to call you out when you're not. That's what I'm doing.
I guess that's fair enough.
Thank you.
But just like you can hang up on me, I can hang up on you.
You can't. Have I ever hung up on you?
I'm a gentleman.
No.
That's debatable.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, we've had so-called technical difficulties.
I've never hung up on you.
But I ain't gonna say.
I'm not saying I wouldn't. I'm just saying I haven't. I've had no reason to.
Okay.
If you was on some numbers, you got to go.
That time, Mr. Ivey, I think it's that time for me to go because there's a certain chopper, aka overseer, who has a day off today, and he warned everybody to be prepared. So I hope he's in line behind Kev on the sale because they got some splaining to do.
Okay.
Tracy already called out Kev on the sale, and now I'm calling out Glenn from Mason, even though this is your show, the Nathan Ivey Show, but I'm Drop Squad 52.
Yes, you are.
Stallion to anyone who wants to catch it. Wake up, Sleepy Joe.
He is hilarious. He is hilarious. Like I said, you're right. You have no responsibility to be fair. You're right. I mean, your perspective is what it is. As the host, it's my responsibility to call it out. And I'll say it again. When I look at the policies, proposals from Joe, at the top of that list, there's a list of them. There's a huge distinction between him as president, a huge difference between what I believe would be a Joe Biden presidency and what we see from Trump. I stand by what I said, though. In general, we as voters, black voters especially, deserve better choices. We deserve men who open their minds before they open their mouths. We deserve that. Policy aside, I'm just saying. It's the damn near 11th hour. It's August. He's still walking about ridiculous statements. I mean, you're talking about shooting yourself in the foot. It just begs the question from today's cover arc. Is Joe Biden's mouth the biggest threat in the election? Trump may not even be his biggest adversary. It might be Joe himself. Something to consider. Some stories to start your morning. It's the Nathan Ivey Show. I've got to take a break. We'll come right back. I'm live. I'm local. And I'm vocal. This is the last honest place in Cincinnati media. Don't go anywhere.
With the Bloomberg Black Business Report, I'm Joan Doniger. Even with diversity programs and renewed pledges to do more in the aftermath of the George Floyd killing, black faces in the top ranks of finance have been rare. One, however, notes some progress. Carla Harris is vice chairman of wealth management at Morgan Stanley. She says, though, it moves with the business cycles.
Diversity has been a bull market phenomenon.
But Zenelia Harris, president of the Harris & Harris Financial Group, no relation, doesn't advise black people to work for the big Wall Street firms.
Black people, a lot of times we get pigeonholed. We can have all of the certifications and have, multiple degrees and still get assigned to being, like I said, a client service rep.
And she's not buying talk of change. She wants action.
When I will see change or recognize that they are putting their actions into words will be when I see, your C-suite.
And that's your Bloomberg Black Business Report. I'm Joan Doniger.
This is Zoe Wesson. What side of history do you want to be on? The right side, or one where black people continue to be underrepresented in Hamilton County? Now's your chance to end 230 years of exclusion. In Charlie Winburn, we have a man that's received the Cincinnati NAACP President's Award, who fought on the Ohio Civil Rights Commission for 6 years, who received the Baptist Ministers Conference Community Service Award. Charlie Winburn has received the Southern Christian Leadership Conference Award and was honored by WDBZ The Buzz as Pastor of the Month. We know Charlie Winburn, and he knows us. He's the right man to put us on the right side of history. On Tuesday, November 3rd, vote for Charlie Winburn for Hamilton County Treasurer.
I am Charlie Winburn, and I'm asking you for your vote on Tuesday, November the 3rd, paid for by friends of Charlie Winburn.
Are you interested in medical coding, but not sure where to start? And scared of wasting time and resources? Let me help you with the right steps to become a certified, marketable medical coder. Learn more at bit.ly/5stepscoder.
Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
45 over 92.
180 over 111. I had a heart attack and a cardiac arrest, and then a stroke.
Your blood pressure numbers could change your life. Lowering your high blood pressure could save you from a heart attack or stroke. If you've stopped your treatment plan, restart it or talk to your doctor about creating one that works better for you. Start taking the right steps at manageyourbp.org.
Now I'm, trying to get better, stronger than ever.
Brought to you by the American Heart Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
Hello, I'm Charlie Winburn with Renew Community Church. It seems like the coronavirus came from nowhere. I have some good news that if you never quit and don't give up, out of nowhere, the way will be made for you and your family. Take your life back. Join Renew Community Church each Sunday, 11:45 a.m. on Facebook Live, facebook.com/CincyRenew. Rewrite your life while at home. Join Renew Community Church for the 12-week Rewrite.me series each Sunday on Facebook Live. Renew your life at home. Go to SundayConnectCircle.org for a free 12-week, 200-page PDF. Take your power back, rewrite your life. Join Renew Community Church each Sunday at 11:45 a.m. on Facebook Live, facebook.com/CINCI Renew. I am Charlie Winburn, and remember, out of nowhere, the way will be made for you and your family.
The Nathan Ivey Show is supported by listeners. Go to www.patreon.com/Nathan Ivey Show and help Nathan keep the show independent. You're listening to The Nathan Ivey Show. One man, one microphone, one mission. Now let's get back to the flow.
So Michelle Obama says that she had mild depression through 2020, dealing with racial strife and Trump in office and COVID-19. She got a new podcast up and she explained it more. And essentially what she said is like, I'm fine, y'all. She's really worried about other folks out there. But I think there's some truth in that. I mean, I know personally people, I've heard quite a bit about this, and you can kind of tell just from kind of the patterns that people are posting that a lot of folks are having a problem with this whole COVID-19 thing, folks. And again, don't be like me, man. It should not take a near-death experience for you to really understand what they say when they say stop and smell the roses. That issue is so true, family. It is so true. Don't go out like me. Laid up in the hospital for a week or so for something that was completely preventable. And making you reanalyze and rethink what your priorities are, what really matters to you. This COVID-19 thing don't mean a damn thing to me. It ain't stopped nothing. Yeah, I mean, I've had to make some adjustments like any entrepreneur. I have to cut overhead like everybody else, and you not going out and being as sociable as much. But I've always maintained a home office, so now I'm just primarily at the home office. You know what I'm saying? And maybe it's the Virgo in me. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's the Virgo in me. It just, it ain't that bad, y'all. To be honest with you, for me personally, it ain't that bad. I gotta be honest with you. Hey, we got John. Hey, John. Hey, brother John. Hold on 1 second, man. I want to make sure I get you in. Okay, brother?
Yes.
All right, there's John. We'll put John on hold there. But how are you dealing with it? I mean, honestly, be real with me. Men, be real with me. I mean, you get into your feelings a little bit, perhaps. Be real with me and tell me how you doing with this. And I'm going to reach out to some professionals, right, who can come on and share with us some tips on what to do and how to deal with all of this. For me, it's all about investing in myself. It's about getting this temple, this body together, getting my mind together. You know what I'm saying? I'm on a deep introspective journey. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing like a nice power walk, nothing like getting some good exercise in every day to clear your brain. I mean, for me, it's almost like hitting the refresh button in your brain. That's working out hard every single day. And again, maybe I'm in a different circumstance. I just kind of look at it differently. This COVID-19 thing is nothing more than an opportunity for me. I don't really see any challenges here. But again, I got a wifey, I got 2 children, I got family. I get a chance to connect with you straight from my home office every day. So, that's a different circumstance than maybe a lot of people are in, but I don't get it. So you got more time to think, more time to develop whatever your ideas were. You got more time to create. You got more time to watch your favorite shows. If you're a gamer, you got more time to get on Warzone. Season 5 just started. You know what I'm saying? I don't really understand it completely. And Trump ain't depressing me at all. That's a temporary problem. And that's a problem that you can't do anything about all by yourself. That takes a larger, voter electoral movement on that. I don't really see it, man. I really don't. But I want to get your thoughts about it. I know it's real. I'm not trying to say it's not real. I'm not trying to say I don't understand it. Michelle Obama says she's dealing with low-grade depression because of COVID-19 and the racial strife. And I mean, or from my black man perspective, the racial strife is the same. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's no more or less difficult to be a black man as it was before George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. I got the same issues with the status quo and white supremacy now as I had then. I mean, if anything, just seeing all of these new allies out here and this new mobilization I'm seeing from black folks from around the country, if anything, I'm feeling as if I love how people are moving toward organization. I feel a little bit better about it. I mean, a little bit better about it. I felt and shed tears for, George Floyd and Breonna like everybody else, as I do all black and brown folks when I see them being oppressed and or murdered by the man. You know what I'm saying? I felt the same way about Sam DuBose. You know what I'm saying? So I'm no more depressed about the racial strife than I was before this whole thing happened. If anything, there's a small part of me that feels like, okay, maybe there's some light at the end of the tunnel, because I'm seeing so many black and brown people starting to organize politically. You know what I'm saying? That's a good thing. I love that. And again, like I said, Trump don't bother me. He ain't stopped nothing. I'm still doing what I do. You know what I'm saying? You still doing what you do. He is a problem. He's a medium and long-term problem that can be solved in November. And I don't let Trump frustrate me, just like I didn't let the losing of the Bengals and FC Cincinnati and the Reds frustrate me. You know what I'm saying? I just kind of unplug from the frustration and deal with whatever I can deal with. That's just me. But again, maybe you agree with Michelle Obama. You know what I'm saying? She said, but I'd be remiss to say that part of this protest, this depression, is also a result of what we're seeing in terms of the protests. Why would I be depressed about the protest? I love the protest. I want to see more protests. I love when people's in the street. I love it. That means that people are reacting. Because in my perspective, there are too many black and brown folks and white allies. It was just letting stuff go and not really reacting. The reaction, I love it. Like I said, when I turn on the Budget and Finance Committee and City Council and I see people out there stirring the pot, I love it. It makes my day. My day is better after that. When I see people shouting down these local politicians and national politicians and going to their home and challenging the mayor at Salazar's, I love it. Love it. It makes me feel better. When I see people holding a man that wants to be mayor, David Mann, accountable, going to his home, meeting him at the park and not letting him off, not backing down, not being Cincinnati polite, I love it. I loves it. That makes my day. I feel better all day after I see that. So please keep it up. I don't get it. To me, the protests are a part of the democracy. And it's a very useful part of our democracy. People keep trying to make them to this and that. Nah, that's democracy in action. People are supposed to hit the streets when they outraged. And Cincinnatians trying to be Cincinnati polite, we want to sit back and talk, and we think we can talk our way to a solution. So I don't really get it. The racial unrest is a good thing. I love it when black and brown folks and our white allies say enough is enough. We're going to hit the streets in Portland. We're going to hit the streets in Atlanta. We're going to hit the streets in Louisville. The FNAC, I loved it. So I just see it differently. To me, that's a good thing. I would be depressed if after George Floyd, after Breonna Taylor, nobody was out here doing anything. Now, that would depress the hell out of me. I'd be real depressed then, but the movement that I see, man, my only depression is I don't want it to end. I want them to keep that energy. In the city of Cincinnati, keep that energy, brother. Keep that energy, sis. Keep doing it. Keep going down there, hold them accountable, talking to them like grown folks. You know what I'm saying? Unapologetically, I love it. 100%. I'm getting good goosebumps right now. You know what I'm saying? I love it. What's to be depressed about that? That's the only way we're going to get some change. We're not going to podcast our way to change. We're not going to town hall our way to change. We're not going to talk our way to change. It's going to be people in the streets that don't give a damn, that's tired of playing games, tired of being polite, that's going to push the needle. Because if Cincinnati polite was going to change anything, it would have already happened, because we good at that. We good black folks in Cincinnati when it comes to being Cincinnati polite. We got that down. We should patent it. Maybe not, but we could patent it. Being good little Negroes in the city of Cincinnati and being polite and not saying what needs to be said and trying to be friends. We so great at that. What has that gotten us? Gentrification. About a $35,000 difference when it comes to, wealth on a yearly basis in the city of Cincinnati. an infant mortality rate that's inexcusable, black females far more likely after having a child to not live 1 year after that. So F the Cincinnati polite, F the politeness, get real. I love it. And all you 1776 piece talking about, this is Antifa, knock it off. If it was good in 1776, it's good in 2020. That's how I look at it. But what do you think? 513-873-7134. I told you I'm a different kind of brother. I got a different perspective on some of these things than perhaps some of the usual voices. I love it. I ain't depressed at all. I love it. I love when I turn on and I see people overturning cars, and I ain't got no problem with it because, damn it, if you gave people more equity, you gave people more tangibles, they wouldn't be out there. I love it when these peaceful protesters run down on the mayor and start asking him real and salient questions. I loved it. See this face? Loved it. Keep doing it. That's the only way we're going to get anywhere. But I know we got to be polite. We got to speak in hushed tones and don't look at them in the eye. Don't look at them in the eye and all this kind of nonsense later for all of that. I love it. But what do you think? 513. I don't really get it. And I'm at home. This is my home. All of this is my stuff. I decorated all of this stuff. You know why? Because I like it. I like being here. You know, if you don't like being at home, then you need to rethink about what you've put in your home. You should redecorate and put things in your house that encourage you and inspire you and make you want to be at home. Where else would I want to be? All the people I know and love are here. Where? I don't get it. I don't get it. But again, that's just me. 513-873-7134. Let's go straight to the phones and welcome in John from Florida. What up, John?
How are you today? The people of Cincinnati as well as...
I would be so much better if you weren't mumbling, John. I can barely hear you.
Oh, sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Can
you hear
it's
me
like
now?
night and day. Yes, I can hear you, John. Welcome.
Okay. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing well.
Great.
Welcome.
Great. Your flows were very good this morning, very good, on point and on market. I'd like to get your feedback on a number of things this morning, two things that stick out in my mind. And one of them is this election. To me, when I look at this election and see how things are playing out, well, we already know about the character in the White House. We don't have to bring up his resume, but we can look at Biden too. But Trump is playing this election out. It reminds me of Al Gore and George Bush, if some of you people remember that buffoonery of an election, and also Hillary and Trump. Both scenarios of those elections are kind of playing out the same way. And if we look, you see what he's doing. One good example is his holding up or ordering the postmaster or general, whoever's in charge, the commissioner, to slow down the mail. What does that mean? I know, choppers, you're asking me. Well, that means that if he has that power to slow the mail down or stop the mail, and I've noticed it's been slowing down because a friend of mine contacted me up north telling me she sent this package off to me 2 weeks ago. So, we see the buffoonery and the stupidness going on. I'm glad the Democrats are taking note on it and they're having hearings and talking about it because he should not have that power to stop the mail, anybody's mail, be it election or packages that's supposed to go to loved ones, medical, anything. To slow the mail down is a game that he's playing to slow the election down and put the numbers in his favor. That's dangerous right there. I'd like to hear your comments about that.
Well, from what I understand, the Postmaster General is appointed by the president. Essentially, I think there's like a body of governors who decide that, but essentially the president has a lot of sway on who becomes a Postmaster General. And so my opinion about that is, John, that elections have consequences. And people shouldn't get caught up in the nonsense when they're voting, right? And the personality should understand that the president has a lot of sway and a lot of influence on a lot of governmental, organizations and institutions, right? He has a lot of sway. And these are all factors on who and why you should vote for a particular candidate. And you voted for Zorro. So when you voted for Zorro in 2016, you opened the door for Trump to do exactly what he's doing now. That's my take on it.
Well, that's your perspective. And yes, like back in when Hillary and Trump ran out of it, and I kind of knew the night before that election, this election is close. I kept telling family and friends that kept telling me, stop saying that, stop saying that. I said, you got to read the tea leaves. You got to see what's going on. Anyway, I went to bed that night, woke up 2 o'clock in the morning, turned on 4 or 5 different stations, weeping and crying. They could not believe Trump is going into the White House. I turned the TV off and went back to sleep. I said, I told you so. I told you. What we didn't know about the stealing, this dirty stuff Trump was doing. Yeah, we know about that now. But he used a game that's been played before. He just took it to another damn level. And it's about to happen again. You have to see the playlist again that Trump is going to use.
Hey, John, may I ask a quick question?
Yes.
Are you going to get registered and vote in the upcoming presidential election? Because if you're not, any and everything you have to say is moot. It doesn't really matter.
I told you before, I am registered here in Florida. I've already done that. I've done that already.
Said that last time that you literally told us you wrote in Zorro and invalidated your ballot.
Yes, I did that too. But you didn't let me finish my statement. 40 to 60% of the American people in 2016 didn't vote for Hillary. They did not vote for that idiot Trump. They stayed home. So you can, and John from Princeton, a.k.a. Zorro, yes, he's in that mix because I saw the foolishness coming down the pipeline. I saw the lies, the corruption that's been going on in every election in this country's history. And it's going to happen again.
If Hillary... True or false?
So
in your opinion, John, if Hillary was the president, this country would have had a more mature and comprehensive response to COVID-19. Do you agree or disagree with that?
Yes, she would have responded quickly, yes.
Yes, she would have. I agree with that as well. Okay, so that's all water under the bridge, right? Despite your concerns about voter tampering or voter suppression or whatever, we all have a responsibility to be mature in the upcoming election and vote on the policies and that we care the most about. If you really care about the post office that you brought up, then vote in November. Don't vote for the guy that's trying to on the low, and not so much on the low now, to dismantle the post office. Vote for a candidate that will support and protect the post office. Boom, there it is.
You have to understand history, and many of your listeners across the country and around the world have to understand. If you don't understand history, history repeats itself. And in this country, it's repeated itself a zillion different times. As much as some of you wanted Hillary in the presidency, and I wanted her in there, even though I didn't really too much care about her, but it's not my decision. That 1% that I brought up to you many times that controls this country, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the bankers, those characters control this country. And they tell the Democrats and they tell the Republicans, either you bounce the ball the way we want you to bounce the ball, or we take you out. You think Barack Obama was in control? Yes, he was. You think Trump, as much idiotic and foolishness that he's doing, but he takes it to another level. But they still control that buffoon. They control him. They let him do. He's like a dog on a leash. They let him go, but so much, and then they pull him back, say, okay, Trump, you can't do that, but pull it back a little bit because we have to get this and we have to get that. So this country has always been controlled by the 1%. So, I don't tell people to vote or not to vote. That's your individual choice. And I've been saying that for years, if I voted or not voted. I'm not saying, even though I'm registered, I'll say it again, even though I'm registered here in Florida, I will wait out and see how it plays out. This election is Biden's to lose. I'll say it again. It's his election to lose. In those debates, if he stumbles and bumbles all over the place, he may lose this election. Yeah, Trump is going to be dirty. He's going to do everything he can do to get this election as close as possible so he can steal it again. That's not saying that John won't vote. Let's see how this plays out.
It sounds like you're going to do something dumb again. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like you're going to do something dumb again and write in Gary Coleman or some nonsense like that. That's what it sounds like.
It won't be Gary Coleman. I want to see who Biden's vice president pick is going to be. I want to see that very closely. I don't want to see Harris in there because Harris will come in there playing the same little game that she's been playing when she was in California. A lot of black people across the community, not just from Florida, a lot of people across the country is not going to be comfortable with Harris. And I don't think any of the 5 picks that everybody's easing towards is going to be the pick. I think it's going to be a dark horse that nobody is watching, that Biden is going to be picked, and I don't think it's going to be an African American. Once again, people, I'm not saying an African American woman can't do the job. I didn't say that. I'm saying it's not the time for that pick. Elizabeth Warren or somebody, a dark horse that nobody is looking for. Now, if Biden picks somebody outside the black community, I can probably deal with it. Now, Biden is only going to serve 2 or 3 years. He's not even going to finish it. I predict, you're hearing on the Nathan Ivey Show, Biden will not, if he gets in, he won't finish 4 years. Give him a year or 2, he'll step down. That vice president will come in. Now the pressure is on that vice president coming in to pick an African-American woman. And the reason why I say that, people out there, we already seen Barack Obama and the foolishness that was going on there. And a lot of you people were telling me to shut up. Stop talking about Barack Obama. What are you talking about? Shut up. No. He played the game. He played it well.
You're not going to vote.
He played the game for the 1%.
I don't believe you at all. You're not going to vote. I can tell you got 2 or 3 excuses that you're running with, and you're not going to vote. You're going to write in Todd Bridges and Gary Coleman and Dana Plato. You know what I'm saying? Because they the stars of one of your favorite 70 sitcoms or some nonsense like that. I can see it already. John. I can see it already, man.
Todd Bridges and all those other names, I didn't follow. I followed Zorro. I enjoyed watching Zorro. The man with the sword, the cape, the mascot. I followed Zorro. I didn't follow Todd Bridges.
It'll be Lone Ranger. If you follow Zorro, then you love Lone Ranger, didn't you? Keep it real. You was watching Lone Ranger. You're going to write in Lone Ranger this year based on some nonsense and then validate your ballot again and then bellyache about what Trump or whoever is doing afterward. I know the MO, John. I know the MO.
I didn't follow the Lone Ranger. That wasn't one of my sitcom series. I kind of mostly Western, Zorro, and the Untouchables. The original one, not the stupid one that Costa did.
Can I go now, John? Can I go?
Yeah. So, one more topic I'd like to quickly talk about before I let you go. Trump. Now, my question to you, one question I have to you. Do you think if Biden gets in, the first act that he should impose is get the right attorney general in there and hold the Trumpster and everybody around him that knew about this virus, hold them accountable. Make them come in and talk what they knew, what they didn't know. I'm passionate about this, and I like to hear you respond. I want Trump held accountable. I lost a loved one. Also, 160,000 people across the country dead because of this virus. This rat in the White House has to be held accountable, and I want him to come and talk. I want the American people, even those hillbillies up in the mountains that support him, that's losing loved ones up there, you got to hold them accountable. And finally, one more thing. Anybody that sends their kids back to school is out of their damn mind. Are you crazy? Are you crazy? Are you crazy to be sending your kids back? What do you think is going to happen? Before this virus, these kids come home with sniffles, colds, and everything else. Now they're going to come home with the virus. And who do you think is going to get it? The mother, the father, the grandparents? Are you out of your damn minds? I'll leave you with this. Zorro may have to rise again. Have a nice day.
I'm trying to, man. I'm trying to. So hard. But after phone calls like that, it becomes just a little bit, I'm lying. I'm going to have a grade no matter what. Appreciate the phone call. To answer your question, no, I don't think that should be the first thing that Joe Biden does. I think the first thing he should do is to sign an executive order protecting the internet, because that's what we all are. I think that should be one of the first things he does. In terms of having like some congressional hearings, I think those are in order so we can figure out what went wrong and what we should have done for the next pandemic. I'm of the opinion that COVID-20 is right around the corner. Everybody's worried about COVID-19. COVID-20 is like, yeah, I'll be here soon. So let's make sure that we don't make some of the same mistakes as the guy in the White House. But I told you, John ain't gonna vote. He ain't gonna vote. Come out. He said all of that. Talking about he wants to see Biden hold Trump accountable, but Zorro's gonna rise again. Dear Lord, dear Lord, dear Lord. Vernon writes, yeah, and what's coming out of Orange ass mouth is no better. I understand what Joe was saying. Okay. Brian writes, good morning, Nate. Everyone have a great Friday. I'm trying, Brian. I'm trying. Kelly writes, good morning. Good morning to you. Hey, listen, folks, up on my Facebook page right now, you can see a post. I see what Glenn calling in. You can see a post about Ride or Die LLC. So in about a month, it's going to be September the 5th. We have a class scheduled that is for tactical training. This class is for individuals who already have a CCW. The price for the class will be $100, which is a greatly reduced price for those type of services they normally provide. That's a special price for myself and the Choppers. The time frame will be 8 a.m. to 12 noon, so about a 4-hour time frame in the morning. Again, that's the first Saturday, September the 5th in 2020, so in less than a month, a little less than 30 days. If you're interested, just follow the prompts and let me know. I'll be in contact with you. I've got a link there to my Cash app. At $20 will secure your spot. The good folks at Ride or Die are going to try their best to procure as much ammunition as possible, and then perhaps we can purchase it from them the day of. But as I understand, ammunition is at a premium right now with COVID-19 and all the racial strife. You know, people they're trying to protect themselves, so they're hoarding ammunition as much as possible. But so they're asking you, if you're interested, to try to procure ammunition yourself and bring it with you if possible. And if you're interested, please let me know as soon as possible so we can get the slots and I can get the information to the good folks at Ride or Die. You can find it on my Facebook page right now. Okay. If you're interested, dear Lord, I'll say it again. John is not going to vote. He's incorrigible. He wants to complain. He don't even want to do the minimum, which is vote. That's it. I ain't even asking you to do nothing else. I'm not asking you to canvass the neighborhood and wear T-shirts and put up yard signs. I mean, all that stuff is pretty easy. Yard signs probably being the easiest of that list. All I'm asking you to do is make an informed decision in November. If you feel that way about Trump and you're upset about this and that and the other, then do something about it. Do something about it. And I'm here to tell you that there are profound differences between the two candidates. Just like I told you in 2016 that there are profound differences between Trump and also Hillary Clinton. But again, as I said, here we go again. In general, we keep doing the same old thing with these old white rich men, thinking that they're going to create the kind of administrations that's really going to be representative of us. And they do the same thing every single time. They put a few tokens, a few symbols here or there. And it seems like the special interest ends up getting what they want over and over and over and over and over again. That's just what it is. I'm in the chop shop. Let's see. CG Dub writes, good morning, choppers. Let me catch up here. King Clobar writes, morning. I don't know if I'm more pissed off about what Biden said, Michelle Obama being depressed, or Ebony's cover of Love and Loyalty push for gay men's relationship tied to Black Lives Matter. I did see that. And it makes you wonder. I know Donnie B is going to spend some time on that today at 12:30 p.m. So make sure you tune in and talk about it. Brenda writes, happy Friday. Casey writes, good morning, hashtag Team and I, sending positive, powerful vibrations to you all. I'm here to receive all of that. Good morning to you. Mason Marler writes, morning, Nathan and Choppers, hashtag TGIF, hashtag flows ready to eat for everybody. Hashtag don't react. Don't read the headline, read the story. Hashtag why is Biden's mouth worse than Trump? Hashtag stop being fake woke and vote. Hashtag education is undefeated. Hashtag cynicism is a killer in the black community. I disagree with that. Hashtag I'm off today, so be prepared for mass flows. Hashtag Polly want a pastor. That's a jab at Jeff Pastor, who just loves to tell. He's a black, I don't know what he is, Republican, more independent. I think he's writing these days, Republican, who loves to talk about his polyamorous ideology, even though he's married with kids. But I mean, listen, if that's good with him and his wife, how could I criticize it? Since you brought up Jeff, I haven't been on your page, Lev, hasn't come across my screen, but the workout videos, let that in, bruh. We know what you're trying to do. We see right through it. You know what I'm saying? With the Wakanda come on, bro. Give us policy. Work on your lats on your own time. We want policy. His brother, he spends more time. Jeff Pastor spends more time putting up photographs and videos of him working out than him working out for the people in terms of policy. And you can tell him I said that. Negro, we don't give a damn about your lats, your triceps, your biceps, your quadriceps. We don't give a damn. Get that policy. That's what we talking about. That equity, the tangibles. But there I go, being antisocial and not polite. So let me go to the phones. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Wah, 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 wah. What's going on, Nate?
What's up, brother? What's going on? Mason Mahler in the house.
You caught me at the ATM, man. You know I'm off today, so I'm getting my little money. I'm about to go up here to First Watch and get my food. And I'm going to go to the driving range at the Southwest Golf Ranch and get my little swing on. I got to work on my iron play, man.
Okay.
I'm going to watch some NBA basketball today. I got me a bottle of Jameson, some Irish whiskey. You know, I couldn't find the black whiskey, so I had to get Irish. But hope nobody hold that against me. And let me see, I'm leaving Fifth Third right now. Hey, Drop, what's in your wallet? How you doing, Nate, today, man?
I'm doing great. I'm loving your energy, man. I can see you having a great morning, huh?
Man, you already know, man. Sunday to Thursday, first day off. And, you know, apparently, Nate, I don't know if you heard this or not, but Donald Trump has done more for black Americans than LBJ and Abraham Lincoln combined. Did you hear that?
Is that so? That's news to me.
Yeah.
That's news to me.
I mean, even when my man Jonathan Swan tried to give him an out, like, you know, when LBJ did the whole Civil Rights Act, then Donald Trump said, well, how did that work out? I don't know, Nate. How am I supposed to take that comment? How did that work out? Is he trying to suggest that the Civil Rights Act was a bad thing, Nate?
It worked out pretty.
Can you explain that to me?
It didn't eradicate systemic racism, but it did offer some protections for black folks.
Right. But, you know, he said he did more. He's still trying to, you know, play the whole black and brown unemployment rate is at its lowest ever. Actually, it has ticked up over the last 5 months. And just like everything else, Nate, when white people get a cold, black people get COVID. You know, it used to be the flu. Now we get COVID. It's almost like a death wish now. You know, Nate, let me go ahead and get this out the way because of your headline of the day. Let me say this. It may be inartful what he said, Nate, but what he said was actually true. And let me go back to a comment that come from A-Ray, and I had talked about what Joe Biden said. You know, I threw the little shade out there, my little Cincinnati artist mural shade at you, Nate, when I was talking about, you know, people read more than just the headline, actually read the story. But A-Ray brought up a point when she said, well, Glenn, is he talking about, you know, Hispanic, I have this quote right for me. Now I'm driving, man, so here it is right here. Did you mean Venezuelan, Brazilian, Puerto Rican, and other Latino communities? That's exactly what he meant, Nate. Now, you somewhat, I wouldn't say justified what he said, but you understood the nuances of what he said when you talked about how black people as a whole, unlike those communities that were mentioned before, vote for Democrats at a, 90% rate? Wouldn't you say that, Nate?
Yeah, it's like high 80s, I think.
Right. And this is the thing that kills me, Nate. And I want the chop shop fact checkers to check me on this. But I do believe that black people have voted longer for the Republican Party than they have for the Democratic Party. Because, you know, the Republican Party was started in 19 in 1854 in Ripon, Wisconsin, as a progressive, liberal, anti-slavery party fighting the tyranny of Andrew Jackson. See, that's another thing that people tend to forget. The reason why black folks were solidly behind the Republican Party, because they were the anti-slavery party. Kind of makes sense, don't it, Nate? But you can best believe that there was a drop in the alt middle on the other side of that. Sam, you don't need to abolish slavery. Let freedom ring. It eventually will work itself out. You know how that works, Nate. Keep your head down. Don't say nothing. Don't get them upset at you because they might take it out on the rest of us. We've heard that before, haven't we, Nate?
We have.
Tracy Hunter, you never should have stuck your head up. We've heard that before, haven't we, Nate?
Yeah, we have.
The same group of people. You know where I'm going. Like I said, this flow's ready to eat for everybody. And everybody going to catch it today if you want some. So that's where I'm coming from, Nate. And, it's funny. You're not on it today, and I like this. Normally you play the whole Jason Johnson trying to play it down in the middle of the road. But you always are, and I can appreciate that. But when the ish gets real deep, you gotta check people like Drop. You gotta check people like John. And this goes back to another part of one of your headlines, Michelle Obama. Nate, I'm lightweight feeling her but it's for a different reason, Nate. I'm lightweight depressed because, Nate, I don't know, man, I won't even blame it over the last 4 years. It's been like the last 14 years. With the election of Barack Obama, is that they came out of the woodwork and showed they natural ASF. We know what that means in the black community. You showed us what you was really about. And what a certain segment of the Republican Party, no, let's just say the Republican Party as a whole, because now it's the Trump Party. What they have shown us, Nate, is they natural you-know-what. And they've shown it for the last 14 years. Everything that Donald Trump is doing, his playbook has been played before, Nate. Richard Nixon played this playbook. Ronald Reagan played this playbook. I'm passing Pfeiffer Road right now, so if I drop out, you know why. We hit that little dead spot here. Are you still with me?
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay. But, Nate, this has been played before. Did you hear what he said yesterday about Joe Biden? He said that Joe Biden wants to hurt the Bible and wants to hurt God. Did you hear that?
I didn't hear that, no. He wants to hurt God.
He was here in Ohio, Nate, yes. Said it just like that. Joe Biden wants to hurt the Bible and he wants to hurt God. Now, let me ask my good Republican friends out there, is Donald Trump in any way whatsoever synonymous with anything that has to do with the Bible, Nate?
Maybe like the end days times, right near the apocalypse. That's about it.
We're talking about the same guy that cleared out Lafayette Park so he can hold the Bible upside down.
Maybe when they talk about the Antichrist or something like that, that's about it.
Right. Then the reporter asked him, is that your Bible? And what did he say? It's a Bible.
It's a right.
Man, it's a Bible.
It's a Bible. We can see that. That's hilarious.
It gets me when people talk about Joe Biden debating Donald Trump as if Donald Trump come in like he got some type of Barack Obama aura surrounding him. Like he's a great orator. Like Donald Trump, when he gets on the debate stage with Joe Biden, he's going to spit out facts. Have you seen the article? Have you seen the interview with Jonathan Swan with Axios?
Several times.
Seen clips of it.
I've seen it several times. But I will say this, that it's, for me, in my opinion, it's far more difficult to debate somebody that's willing to lie than to deal with facts.
Right.
And that's what Donald Trump brings to the table.
To come in. But see that, you know what, Nate? But that's where the moderators should come in. That's where, we need a chop shop intervention. Well, I'm gonna nominate you on a secret tip. I'm just gonna throw it hey, there's a guy named Nathan Ivey. Can he be a moderator? But you're right, Nate. It's kind of hard to debate a guy that just constantly lies. But you know what? Maybe that's gonna change this time. And
no, I doubt it.
Out there too, Nate. There's a very real possibility that Donald Trump and the Republican Party will do everything that they can to get out of the debate, Nate, just because of what you said, that there will be more fact-checking this time. I truly believe that. And I don't know if you noticed.
There was fact-checkers in 2016. Remember, Hillary Clinton was like, go to my website. She had a fact-checker sort of thing on her website. that was fact checking in real time. And then as soon as the debate was over, you could go to her website and see what the lies were. That made no difference.
Yeah, but she didn't have Julian Assange, WikiLeaks, or Vladimir on her side. And this is another thing, Nate. You know this, but for I say at least 30, 40 years, the Republican Party has pretty much built up the demonization of Hillary Clinton. I mean, basically, even if you're like moderate a Republican and you were like, this guy, Donald Trump, is a complete fool. He insults, every demographic group in America, including the military. But, Hillary is so much of a devil, and, Bill is so much of a shucker that we just can't vote for her anyway. I brought this up to you, Nate, maybe about a month ago and posted the story in the Friends of Nathan Ivey Show. It was an article written in Slate magazine, and it was about how Donald Trump and the Republican Party are going to have trouble running against Joe Biden, trying to demonize him in the same way that they're able to demonize a Hillary Clinton, a woman, or demonize a Barack Obama, an African American, because now they're running against another white man. And Nate, if you see the campaign ads, Donald Trump is trying to convince white people that old Joe Biden is a radical leftist. That's only, and you heard Drop say it. He's going to be beholden to the radical left and the AOCs of the world. I mean, how old is that playing card, Nate?
Well, I mean, you keep playing a hand if it works. Don't matter how old it is. You play a winning hand until it doesn't win anymore.
It reminds you of the Republican Party here in the city. Remember when Curtis Fuller ran for mayor?
Yeah, I remember.
What did they do? They put him up with the protesters and said, "This is the Curtis Fuller crowd."
Well, they didn't put him up, but Curtis was being a true man of the people, as he should have been in those times, those very racially tense times, and he marched with some of the marchers. The Cincinnati Enquirer caught a very interesting photograph of him, around people that had masks on and everything, and I think that helped Luke in the win.
Right.
It didn't change my opinion, Curtis. I liked him even more after that, but I'm a little unusual.
But Nate, who played that card? It was the Republican Party. It was Alex trying to fool you and the rest of them. And when we get to the local elections, Nate, it's going to be even more interesting. I wish I could vote in local elections, but I can't. But I'm thoroughly informed about the issues that are going out there. But we're going to have people choose a side this next election coming up. Nate, if I'm not mistaken, I think there are going to be, 6 or 7 open seats on city council?
6.
Yeah, 6 seats. Everybody and their mama can run. Yeah. We're going to see who shows up in the next Joe Dieter's campaign video and what that says about that candidate. And if that same said candidate who shows up in the Joe Dieter's campaign video and possibly the newest David Mann campaign video, will that be used against him when he decides to run for Hamilton County Commissioner against Stephanie Dumas? Because believe me, they want to put this black guy out there and, to run against Stephanie Dumas because, A, it looks good. You know how that works, Nate. It's not so bad when another black guy is running against her. But B, secretly, we've been cultivating this guy for what, Nate? The last 6, 7 years?
Yeah. You're speaking of Smitherman, right?
Yeah. The Caitlyn Jenner of Cincinnati politics. That's what I called him.
I know. I'm sure he loves that.
And you know why? Yeah. Ain't no switching back. I mean, really. Hell, it took Sensible Don, about 5, 6 years to even get his cars eliminated again. We got a whole new card that he's going to have to collect this time, Nate. We all know the story, so it is what it is, man. I'm almost at my destination, and when I pull out that 7-iron and I hit it about 152 yards, I'm going to have a little ball where it's going to have out middle wolves on. I'm just going to be hitting it like, I'm out, Nate. You have a good one, brother. Enjoy your weekend. Choppers, I love you, and I'm out.
Great flows, man. Was he? What the hell? Oh, man, I'm sure they're going to love that. 513-873-7134. The alt middle wolves, huh? Let me put a very troubling image on the screen right now. Okay, I'm going to give you a heads up. This is going to be a very troubling image. This is the image of a man named Nicholas Ballacino. And back on June the 9th, apparently Nicholas Ballacino was kicked in the head by Sergeant Jesse Franklin, who used to be a Hamilton County sheriff deputy down there at the jail. I see we got Fame calling in. Look at that face right there. That's Nicholas Ballacino. And apparently he got into a scuffle with some sheriff deputies and tried to allegedly bite the boot, not bite the leg, but bite the boot of a sheriff deputy. And the sheriff deputy kicked him in the face. And after some investigations by local media, the sheriff deputy, Jesse Franklin, was fired by Hamilton County current sheriff Jim Neal, right? Well, now, because of further investigation, what they're finding out is they're trying to get to the bottom of why the other sheriff deputies who are right there in the video, why they didn't write him up. They didn't report what actually happened. And it's sickening, quite honestly. A Sergeant Jesse Franklin is a coward, in my opinion. You'd have to be a coward to kick a man in the head whose hands are behind his back, who's already in custody because he bit your boot. Now, I don't know the exact scientific, square inches per pressure of the human jaw, but I highly doubt that this man was going to be able to bite through the sheriff deputy's boot. And I'm just reading in this article that was released within the last 24 hours, some of the excuses that were given by the other sheriff deputies as to why they didn't report it. They watched one of their colleagues kick a man in the face and they ain't say nothing about it. And so not only should the sheriff deputy that committed the offense be held responsible, and get this, Joe Dieters decided to charge this man with a misdemeanor. Now, if you hold a party during COVID-19 in the OTR and you say F the coronavirus, he wants to charge you with a felony. But if you're a member of law enforcement and you kick an unarmed and subdued man in the face and cause this injury right here, it's only worthy of a misdemeanor. Make that make sense. Explain that to me, family. I want to take this quick call, or they take this call, and then I want to quickly come back to talking more about some of the testimony, or not even testimony, but some of the comments that were given by these sheriff deputies as to why they did not report the abuse that they saw. But let me go straight to the phones here. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Hello, Nathan. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Fame. Welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm pleasant.
It's good to hear.
Until about 5 minutes ago.
I kind of figured that.
Why on God's green earth is this man mentioning male genitalia with the alt middle yet again? You heard him. It felt like I was holding some alt middle balls.
Is that what he said?
He said something about alt middle and balls. That's all
I missed
heard.
that. I think I missed that.
We've already discussed that he should not be talking about the alt middle and sexual genitalia in the same sentence. He ain't want to call for a member. He want to hold our balls. What's wrong with your fan? Do you have any real men in your audience? You said this is a place where men should be men, not talk about other men's balls. What's wrong with that guy?
I think you bring something out of him.
So you're saying he's attracted to me. You're admitting that you have a closeted homosexual fan base.
No, I'm not admitting that. That's your viewpoint.
No, that's what you just said. You said I bring something out of him. All he ever wants to talk about is my genitalia, me and my brethren's genitalia.
I think it's interesting that when I said you bring something out of him, that's what you immediately go to. But no, that's not what I'm saying.
No, that's the only thing he ever says is alt middle and sexual genitalia.
Well, I think he said something about spay and neuter or something like that. So I think he's trying to keep up with the whole wolf thing that you got going on. That's how I look at it. I don't look at it as sexual law.
That shows you how unclever he and the other alt middle haters are. Oh. If I was going against the alt middle, I would say something like, "I'll walk right up in that wolf den and come out with 3 fur coats." No, he wants to talk about cutting off members and holding balls. I'm just saying, if I was going against the alt middle, I would be more clever. I'm starting to worry about this.
I mean, I feel a little uncomfortable about arguing either way on this, but I understand where you're coming about. I understand where you're coming from.
And I ain't even being facetious. I'm dead ass serious. Why does he, every time he mentions alt middle, he's talking sexual genitalia? What's up with that?
I think, again, if you believe that's a fair question, that's all good. I think you found a lane that you're running with it. So go ahead and run with it.
And run with nothing. Every time I click on this,
I can't hear you, bro.
Hold on, I'm sorry. Hold on, Nathan.
Yep, we still here.
Yeah, I clicked speaker.
There it is.
My bad.
Sounds much better.
Yeah. No, it's just that every time, for the past 2-3 months, I'm just, I feel threatened.
You don't feel threatened.
He wants to cut my stuff off. He wants to hold my stuff. I mean, these are words that he's saying. I'm not making this up, am I?
Well, listen, you came up with the whole wolf analogy. Is that correct, sir?
It ain't my fault. He ain't clever.
I'm just saying, can you answer the question? You came up with the whole wolf analogy, right? Comparing yourself to wolves and things like that, right?
Yes.
Okay, so when you came up with that, you opened the door for further analogies, such as what we hear from Glenn from Mason. That's how I look at it.
I did not set myself up to be sexually harassed by a 50-something-year-old man who lives with his middle school son.
Do you feel sexually harassed?
Yes, I do.
I think you're being oversensitive.
Yes, I do.
I think you're being overly sensitive.
It ain't sensitive. Nathan, he's threatened my member.
I don't think so. But again, I understand. I'm not telling you you're wrong. Feel how you feel. I'm just telling you that's not what I hear. I think he's playing off your analogy. That's what I think.
And he's not doing it very well. If he is, he's not clever.
Okay,
well,
maybe he's guilty of not doing it very well in your opinion.
Shut the hell up and try something else.
Clearly, you're triggered by it. So if his point was to trigger you,
you're not triggered by a man saying he wants to grab your junk.
I'm just saying, clearly you're triggered by it.
Are you triggered? Would a 50-something-year-old man trigger you saying he wants to grab your junk?
Clearly, you're triggered by it. And so if that was his point to trigger you, then it's working.
You're trying to flip it, and it's a much
I'm not trying to flip it. I'm just giving you my opinion about it. I don't really believe you feel sexually harassed. I think you found a lane and you're going to run with it as a way to get back at Glenn.
I don't see the need for a 50-something-year-old man who lives alone with his middle school son to be talking about 40-something-year-old men's members and testicles.
So would it be more understandable if he was a 25-year-old man? I mean, what's his age got to do with it? Would you understand it better if he was 25 saying the same thing?
Yeah, like Dominique, we let his youthful foolishness just go.
Gotcha.
We'll accept it.
Gotcha.
From a 50-year-old man who's been calling talk shows for 30 years.
I hear you, brother. And I hear what you're saying.
What you're talking about is so unclever, Glenn. Now, let's move on.
Let me just say this. If it's so, I know you feel uncomfortable. I want you to feel more comfortable. So let me just say this. If it was so unclever, then why is he triggering you? It's something to think about, bro.
I don't go to bed thinking some man's wants to come caress my balls.
See, now you're running with it.
That's what he's saying.
Now you're using the word balls gratuitously. I understand.
These are his words. Now, as far as the sheriff deputy,
yeah.
Now that I know that guy tried to kick him or tried to bite him, I kind of see where he's coming from.
You kind of see where he's coming from.
I said I kind of. Not saying he should be exonerated, but I kind of see where he's coming from. I would have kicked the man in the face too if you tried to bite me. There's the only thing more disrespectful that a human can do other than bite you is spit on you.
Okay, so he tried to bite his sheriff deputy's boots. You ever looked at the boots that the shoes that sheriff deputies use? I mean, it ain't like Nikes. I mean, these are going to work in a hostile environment type of equipment. So I don't think there was any threat of him to bite through the hard leather and the outer shell that these sheriff deputies be wearing. I don't think the man was any kind of injury. He didn't sustain any injuries.
It's the principle of the whole attack.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to react to that too in a certain way, much like I'm reacting to a 50-something-year-old man who lives with his middle school son talking about my genitalia.
So you were just like you overreacted to Glenn. You're going to overreact if you was in that situation like a sheriff deputy. Okay, I got you. At least you're consistent.
Yeah, you know what? That's the sheriff. The sheriff deputy's reaction is disproportionate, and it is an overreaction. But I understand. Sometimes you got to empathize with people. You know, Ray Carew, overreaction, but I understand.
Overreaction. Okay. That's one way of looking at ordering the murder of the woman that's carrying your unborn child. That's one way of looking at it, an overreaction. Okay.
You know, but I understand.
You've told me.
Same thing with this deputy. Yeah, you ain't had to kick a man in the head, face, none of that, but somebody tries to bite you, I kind of get that one.
Right. Tried to bite you in the boot, by the way, and sustain no injuries whatsoever. Look at this.
It's the principle of the whole thing.
Oh, okay. So you understand when these officers overuse their power and brutalize people because of the principle, right? Like somebody say something crazy to them on the job, and you understand why they use their power and authority to brutalize people. I get it.
No,
I disagree with you, but I get it.
No, I mean, just some of these cases that have happened over the year, I will admit, okay, I see why that person got shot and killed.
Right. Well,
Not saying they deserve to die, but based on the stimuli of this video, I see why you were shot.
Oh, so you understand why George Floyd, died the way he did because he was talking fly to the officers. Okay.
Some people have 6 fingers. There's always an exception to the rule.
Yeah.
George Floyd is that exception.
I remember.
Rice is that exception.
You understand why that little girl got tasered for stealing $45 worth of goods from the Kroger store over in Kennard because you do the same thing, right?
Right. And you know what I wouldn't do? I wouldn't have her on the news, her and her mom, the next day with nappy, undone hair.
That's good to know.
Yeah, I would look out for them the whole way through. You know what I'm saying? Why you trying to be slick? But, yeah, I was minding my business. I was minding my business. I heard Glenn's whole call.
I'm glad.
Talking about golfing. He got to go golf here and there. First of all, he's ducking me in golf because he don't want his white friends to know he lost in golf to a jungle bunny. I'm telling you, this guy's got some freaking ego. But to come on here and talk about other men 3 times, he does this every day. Me and my brethren. Ayatollah Khomeini, Ayatollah Black Russia. All he ever talks about is our genitalia. Like he's seen it on Pornhub or something.
Why are you on Pornhub?
You know what I'm saying?
That's the question. Like, why is your genitalia on Pornhub?
Mind your business.
I will certainly mind my business in that regard. Certainly.
But any video that says, black bull with white bride, you might see somebody.
See somebody.
That's
okay.
all I'm saying.
Good to know. I won't be surprised.
Also, I want to talk about this.
Yeah.
Megan Thee Stallion, I think that story was hogwash, Nathan.
The story of Tory Lanez shooting her in the foot?
Shot. I think it was fake.
Why?
There's been no police report at all. And in shooting victims, gunshots are reported, whether you want to talk to the police or not. The cops will document that there was gunshots. Victim refused to speak or cooperate, whatever. We've seen none of that. But we have a shooting between 2 celebrities, and we know who the perp is. We know who the victim is. But the shade room, none of these places, to do that gossiping stuff, those websites, they haven't come up with a police report.
Yeah, that is interesting. Maybe it's because she's afraid that people will look at her like a snitch or something like that. That's what I thought.
No, she's a 23-year-old girl. You don't get to have violence put on you and you not tell about it. And people look at you funny. We don't do that with 23-year-old women. All those, I'm not saying her tears on those videos were crocodile tears, but now I'm looking at them a different way.
Right. I understand.
You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
Whoa, hold on, Lon. Things like that. Like, we don't just do that. Shooting. Remember those guys down in Dallas where the guy who was going to testify in favor of Botham John and the big former football player, he got killed.
He did.
one of his assailants was shot, went to a nursing home. How did the police find out he was there? Because the nursing home had to report the gunshots.
Well, somebody shot Meg Thee Stallion.
I don't believe it happened.
You don't think she was shot?
I believe this was a nope.
You see the video, and you can see some kind of it appeared to be blood that's coming from her leg, from her foot.
I mean, Kurt Schilling did the same thing with his ankle that was messed up, surgically repaired, but he squirted ketchup and or what do you call that? What do you call it? Red stuff, food coloring and corn syrup onto his sock because he knew the cameras would be showing his sock and his ankle where it was operated on, and he put a message there, KALS. This was way before the Lou Gehrig challenge or the ALS challenge.
I got you.
This was way before that, and he did the same thing. I don't care what that video says. I'm just kind of leery of the whole thing.
Okay.
I'm just being more skeptical now because there should be a police report floating online somewhere by now.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, brother. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate your time. Listen, the minute he starts that, you need to stop him. And that's all I got.
I don't think I will.
You at Monday's Moon.
I enjoy your reaction. No, I don't think I will. I enjoy your reaction. I think you're being way oversensitive, but that's just me. All right. Almost at the top of the hour. I need to take a quick break and then we'll come back. This is the Nathan Ivey Show. I'm live, I'm local, and I'm vocal, and we'll be right back.
Show is supported by listeners. Go to www.patreon.com/Nathan Ivey Show and help Nathan keep the show independent.
Are you interested in medical coding, but not sure where to start? And scared of wasting time and resources? Let me help you with the right steps to become a certified, marketable medical coder. Learn more at bit.ly/5stepscoder.
This is Zoe Wesson. What side of history do you want to be on? The right side, or one where black people continue to be underrepresented in Hamilton County? Now's your chance to end 230 years of exclusion. In Charlie Winburn, we have a man that's received the Cincinnati NAACP President's Award, who fought on the Ohio Civil Rights Commission for 6 years, who received the Baptist Ministers Conference Community Service Award. Charlie Winburn has received the Southern Christian Leadership Conference Award and was honored by WDBZ The Buzz as Pastor of the Month. We know Charlie Winburn, and he knows us. He's the right man to put us on the right side of history. On Tuesday, November 3rd, vote for Charlie Winburn for Hamilton County Treasurer.
I am Charlie Winburn, and I'm asking you for your vote on Tuesday, November the 3rd, paid for by friends of Charlie Winburn.
This is Zoe Wesson. There are a few times in life to make history. Hamilton County was founded 230 years ago, but has never elected a black county treasurer. It's time for change. Elect a proven, trusted, experienced candidate for Hamilton County Treasurer, Charlie Winburn. We know Charlie, and he knows us. Charlie Winburn was the former chairman of the Jobs and Growth Committee on Cincinnati City Council under the Honorable Democrat Mayor Mark Mallory. Winburn led the fight to keep 2,000 U.S. postal jobs in Cincinnati. He also fought for wage increases for thousands of city employees, especially our sanitation workers. Charlie Winburn will safeguard more than $1.4 billion in real estate taxes and will increase new home ownership and new jobs. On Tuesday, November 3rd, vote Charlie Winburn for Hamilton County Treasurer. Let's make history together.
I am Charlie Winburn, and I'm asking you for your vote, paid for by friends of Charlie Winburn.
With the Bloomberg Black Business Report, I'm Joan Doniger. Even with diversity programs and renewed pledges to do more in the aftermath of the George Floyd killing, Black faces in the top ranks of finance have been rare. One, however, notes some progress. Carla Harris is vice chairman of wealth management at Morgan Stanley. She says, though, it moves with the business cycles.
Diversity has been a bull market phenomenon.
But Zenelia Harris, president of the Harris & Harris Financial Group, no relation, doesn't advise black people to work for the big Wall Street firms.
Black people, a lot of times we get pigeonholed. We can have all of the certifications and have, multiple degrees and still get assigned to being, like I said, a client service rep.
And she's not buying talk of change. She wants action.
When I will see change or recognize that they are putting their actions into words will be when I see, your C-suite.
And that's your Bloomberg Black Business Report. I'm Joan Doniger.
You're listening to the Nathan Ivey Show. One man, one microphone, one mission. Now let's get back to the flow.
All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Nate Ivey in the air chair. I'm with you just for a few more minutes, and then I've got to make a move. Make sure you check out the Is It Just Me podcast coming up later today at 12:30 p.m. from Sin Digital Media, the Is It Just Me podcast Facebook group. And then on Sunday, the Dope Chicks are back. The reboot of the Dope Chicks Collective podcast. You can check out the live stream Sunday afternoon. Just follow us on Sin Digital Media and plug back into what the Dope Chick Collective are talking about. And for now, we got a call on the line. Let's go straight to the line. Hey, good morning, caller. Welcome to the show. Hold on one second here. There it is. Hey, good morning, caller. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Nathan. This is Sarah.
Hey, Sarah. What's up, man?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
I just wanted to focus on Michelle Obama's statement based on her podcast, I suppose. I think that she's absolutely correct. I cannot see where just about any person of color in this corporation could not be suffering from some form of low-grade type of depression, given all of the things that are actually happening right now. The racial component, the protests, the pandemic, all of the malfeasance, all of the, within the administration that's going on, all the uncertainty regarding the unemployment and stimulus and all this other kind of stuff. It's a lot. It's a lot to digest. It's a lot to contend with. If you really think about it, it's a lot. And the average person that is not under some form of stress as a result of it, I think that would be that's something that is not even practical, to suggest that. And that's one of the reasons I believe that there's somewhat of a spike in crime as well. People are dealing with a lot, Now, in as much as your last caller is concerned, I thought it was entertaining, but I think he was actually instilling. You can't control what comes out of someone else's mouth. I said this earlier. I believe you went to school for communications or whatever. And you're good at your job, but that doesn't make you a ventriloquist. So with that being the case, I think that, I feel like we should stick to the issues and try to see what we can do in order to try to fix or at least discuss those things to come up with some form of a solution. And I think that's the basis for all of this, information sharing and getting different perspectives. But to make it personal, that's futile.
I agree. Keep it on the issues.
In as much as that guy, I don't understand how that guy had on steel toe boots, that sheriff that kicked that man. Steel toe boots. So if he went to bite the daggone man's butt, for heaven's sakes, while he's down and handcuffed and got kicked in the face, That's not even something that needs to be discussed. For heaven's sake, where's our morality? Where's our humanity? Jesus, it's not that difficult to filter through that mess.
Like I said, a real man reserves all that for real threats. You know, that man wasn't a threat to him. Hands behind his back. He got 2 or 3 sheriff deputies already on top of him, and you kick him in the mouth. And like you said, you got on steel-toed Hamilton County Sheriff boots, shoes, whatever they are. He was in no threat and didn't sustain any injury whatsoever. He got caught in his feelings. How dare you do this? Come on now.
Yeah, and to make an analogy or even a comparison regarding Rashawn Davis and what transpired with him, we know that there's a problem with that prosecutor's office. It's not rocket science. We know there's a problem with the judicial system because most of the people that are down there are GOP. They're Republicans. Most of your judges are Republicans and conservatives. And they are the ones that are locking us away.
Facts.
Voting is a necessity, bruh, especially right now. So I don't know what John is going to do, but everybody should vote in their own economic interest. And if that means that you can come on and talk all this mess and not be responsible enough to take the initiative to go out and vote, even though we don't have much to work with, you still got to do something. You got to do something.
Agreed.
You're not going to do something. What's the point? What's the point of your conversation if you're not going to vote? If you're not going to be a participant in this process for change?
Agreed.
I hate that.
Agreed.
Well, I'm going to let somebody else go, man, but I just found that entertaining to some degree, and yet somewhat out of place. Have a great weekend, my brother.
All right, you too.
I'll be seeing you around.
All right, that's Say Rod right there. I appreciate you. Appreciate you. Listen, man, I wish I could go harder today, but I got a bunch of things going on. Like I said, it's a really interesting weekend. You got the Is It Just Me podcast coming up at 12:30 today. And then on Sunday afternoon, the Dope Chicks Collective are rebooting their podcast, all powered by Sin Digital Media. And so I got to make a move, family. Listen, I want to leave you in the best spirits. You know our motto: winners focus on winning, losers focus on winners. So stay focused and stay winning. And we'll talk real soon. Have a great weekend. I'm out.